Good morning and welcome to the Career Spotlight Zoom conversations, dedicated to speaking to industry professionals who share their working experiences and provide an insight into their day-to-day tasks. I'm your host, Darian Collymore, and today I'm joined by Miss Anicia Wood, an avid sports person. Miss Wood has represented Barbados at the 2001 Caribbean Junior Volleyball Championships and later went on to represent Barbados at both indoor volleyball and beach volleyball for 16 years. In 2002, she was recruited by the head coach of the St. John's University volleyball team and was awarded a full volleyball scholarship to play NCAA Division I volleyball in New York. She later went on to play 3 seasons at St. John's, where she completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in Environmental Studies. A year later, she was offered a graduate assistant position in the University of New Haven volleyball team, where she graduated with a Master of Business Administration degree with a concentration in global marketing. She currently coaches a youth volleyball program and is the public relations officer for the Barbados Volleyball Association. She's also an administrator for the Triathlon Federation and sits on the board of the Barbados Olympic Association as the chair for the Barbados Athletes Commission. Ms. Wood has created Carib Athletes, a small business which aim is to showcase the athletic skills of prospective student athletes from Barbados and the Caribbean region. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Wood.
Thank you for having me, Darian.
So what does your job exactly entail? I know you work with Carib Athletes and you're involved with multiple programs surrounding sports. So what exactly do you do?
Okay, so currently I am the owner and founder of Carib Athletes, which you would have mentioned before is really to showcase the skills of Caribbean athletes and connect them with college and university coaches. So basically what this job entails is really to be knowledgeable about all aspects of college recruiting as it relates to Caribbean athletes and how I can inform them correctly of the appropriate steps they need to take along the course of being recruited to compete at the collegiate level. Of course, it involves marketing their skills. So I create highlight videos for them and recruiting resumes where they could showcase their skills, whether in a document or by a video to help them get recruited.
Understood. So I saw that you obtained a Master of Business Administration degree with a concentration in global marketing. And you just mentioned that one of your roles is marketing the athletes and helping them with sports. So in terms of merging sports and business, would you say that you chose this career or did it choose you?
I think it is a bit of both, to be honest. Initially, I think what really stuck for me is when I was a graduate assistant at the University of New Haven. And as a graduate assistant, I was finishing up my master's and I was working with the head volleyball coach at the University of New Haven. So as an assistant, I basically looked at different recruiting sites. We recruited athletes. We basically scouted them at different games. And one day she mentioned to me, you know what, I think it would be really, really nice if you created a niche market for the Caribbean region. So then and there, she really put the thought in my head. I knew if I wasn't a part of a sport or actively playing sports, I always wanted to be a part of sports as my profession. So it was a little bit of both when I said that I knew I wanted to be a part of sports, but at the same time, she actually gave me the thought to create Carib Athletes. So this is where the mixture actually came about.
Okay, that's good. It's good that you're able to continue with sports.
For sure.
Leading up to college and university, what exactly did you study?
So my background is somewhat all over the place, but initially at the undergraduate level, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Studies. And from there, I went on to do my master's in business administration with a concentration in global marketing. So initially at the undergraduate level, you know, coming from Barbados Community College, I would have done sciences. So I did math, geography, and physics. And I did a elective in environmental studies. And then and there, I felt at that point, 16, 17, 18 years old, you know, you think, okay, this is what I wanted to do. So I went on to do environmental studies at St. John's University in New York City. And then I realized, you know what, I'm kind of more of a business person. So then I went on to study business administration, of course, with global marketing. And obviously it's linked today with the fact that I could actually use my marketing background to help market Caribbean athletes and hopefully get them scholarships abroad.
Right. So that master's really played a role in your current job in terms of helping you and equipping you with the skills.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for someone in secondary school, would you recommend there any subjects that they should take? So I know you would have said, you mentioned you would have done sciences and that was because you're leaning towards it, liking environmental studies and all. But knowing what you know now and being in sports and your profession, would you recommend there any subjects that athletes should take at that level?
Yeah, so if you want to play a collegiate sport, obviously there is the NCAA. There are different governing bodies for collegiate sport, but the NCAA is the largest body of the major bodies. And they have recommended courses that an athlete needs to take to be considered eligible to play. And
Okay.
they called it the 16 core courses of the NCAA. And this is math, English, social science, a natural or physical science. Of course, it could be a language. So they're basically saying that you need 4 years of English, 4 years of math, you need a social science. It could be, for them, a social sciences, American government, but for the Caribbean, it could be Caribbean studies or social studies.
Right.
You need at least 3 years of a natural or physical science, and that could be biology, physics, chemistry, even environmental studies. And of course, you could add in a language or religious studies. So it's really having that balance. Obviously, when we get to third form, going up to fourth form, we tend to choose the subjects we want to lean towards, whether we want to go into sciences or whether we want to go into business. But if you
Right.
know you want to be a collegiate athlete and you know you want to play under the NCAA, then of course you need to meet those 16 core courses requirements. So as I said,
Right.
once you have at least a science in there, a natural science, a physical science, or a social science, maybe a language, and of course, most students do English and math, then you should be on the right track.
Okay, that's good. It's important to know these things because I mean, you might go in thinking you could do any subject and then you just decide to switch, like coming down to the
Exactly.
end.
So
Right.
preparation is key, early preparation.
Indeed. So in your time as an athlete and even in your role that you play now in your job, would you say there are any skills that an athlete or a person following your career path needs to have?
Well, they're basic skills. Well, let me backtrack. So yes, you need to have some soft skills because I consider myself to be an entrepreneur. Um, I'm trying to push Carib athletes, and at the same time, I'm working part time, as you mentioned in the introduction, doing a whole bunch of other jobs. But of course, you need to have that discipline and resilience and determination because many self-employed businesses, they don't succeed because persons aren't determined enough to see it through. It takes a little time. So having those soft
Indeed.
skills in terms of being disciplined, you have to set certain hours for yourself because if you are your own boss, in a sense, you feel like if you have the freedom to do what you want, but you still need to have that discipline in terms of, I know I'm going to work from 8 to 3. I know I'm going to put aside certain things. I know I'm going to prioritize my time and manage my time. So these soft skills definitely comes into place. And of course, as I said before, having that business administration background to help me with my finances, managing my finances, being able to create strategic plans, that of course definitely played a role in helping me to develop Carib athletes.
Okay, that's good. So in this post-COVID period, we know COVID would slow the whole world down, especially with the world of sports, obviously because of the contact nature of things. You didn't have the gatherings, you didn't have the meets as usual. So for someone like you that works with recruiting, how do you see your role changing going forward into a post-COVID period?
Well, I think it is really a pro and a con. A pro in the sense that here we were in a period where coaches weren't able to go out and scout athletes for their program. And it is a pro in the sense that now they could utilize services like myself, Carib Athletes, where we have a website to showcase the skills of the athletes via our platform through their resumes and highlight videos. So that really gave us the opportunity to push those athletes towards the coaches. And it could be a con in the sense that because of COVID, a lot of university programs have been canceling their seasons, and some of them have been even closing their doors. If you would have heard recently, Stanford University alone, which is a renowned and well-known university, they basically closed. Well, they can't. They shut down altogether 11
Mm.
sports, and
Oh wow.
this obviously is going to have an impact on those athletes who were looking, to go to Stanford, and not just Stanford, but other university programs. So it is a con in the sense that there are obviously I don't want to say a limited number of schools, but as schools close their door, then there are a limited number of opportunities for athletes to actually get scholarships or be able to compete at
Right.
that collegiate level. So for me, it's really pushing those athletes here that we have in Barbados to the doors that are still open overseas in terms of those colleges and universities. So in a sense, it's going to be a little harder because obviously there are thousands of athletes looking for opportunities. So when one or two doors close, it makes it even harder or challenging for those athletes within the Caribbean to actually get that opportunity that they actually deserve.
Right. That's understandable. I really hope that coming maybe in the near future that people are able to like utilize services like yours to really market themselves and be found, because like you said, the coaches aren't able now to go and scout persons, or even the scouts that come down at our national meets aren't able to see people. So you hope that people will start to look for other ways to be able to have their skills found, and even to seek out scholarships that might be available that they might not know about. So you said some people might be looking for the big schools like Stanford, but there might be some smaller colleges that are able to nurture their talent in the same way. So
Exactly.
yeah. So I know sport has always been your passion, and it's obviously you've made it a career. So do you see yourself continuing in this career, or given your love for environmental science before, do you ever see yourself changing careers maybe in the future?
Well, not to environmental science, no. But I really think that I'm now getting my feet wet within the sporting industry, whether it be college recruiting or sports administration and management. So I don't necessarily see myself changing anytime soon. Barbados, for instance, and the Caribbean, they're really now seeing the power of sports and the business opportunities in sports alone. And we are very traditional in the sense that it is really a lot of parents push their children to be doctors and lawyers, but now you're seeing parents are actually opening their eyes to the sport industries and saying that there are careers in sport. So for me, I think this is a wonderful opportunity and time where I could actually push Carib athletes, knowing that children and parents are more on board to seeking out opportunities where their children can get scholarships or where their children could play professionally in the sport. So I definitely see myself being in this role for a very long time, and not just in Barbados, but in the Caribbean in general, as we actually develop in the sports industry.
It's true. Like you said, a lot of people don't see the viability of it, but realistically, when you look at the sport and market, even overseas, like even where I go to school at Humber, there are programs where you could do a study abroad to do sports business management at universities in England, and you can even do internships at stadiums like Tottenham with football
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So it's a huge market. You see how much players get, the top athletes get paid
It's
and
a
stuff like
billion
that.
dollar
So
industry,
it really
exactly.
is. And even people don't realize there are things like the agents that manage these players, and like even marketing. Like there's so much involved. Like people just think, oh, you have to run or you have to throw. Like there's so many other areas you could get involved in, especially if you really love it.
Exactly. You don't have to be an athlete to be involved in sports. As you said, an agent
Exactly.
alone could make a ton if they get the right player. Look at Patrick Mahomes, who just signed. I don't know. Do you know who
Exactly.
Patrick Mahomes is?
Yeah, the football
Football player,
American
right? So he
football player,
just signed a huge
mega
contract, and his
deal,
agent,
mega.
obviously, he has basically a whole team around him. It's not just his agent, but obviously his nutritionist, his manager. So there are a lot of roles that people could fulfill in sports.
That's true. I know we were having a conversation before about even the way how sports is seen in the region. So do you care to comment on say things like, so you have powerhouses like Jamaica within the region. So we
Mm-hmm.
know many, even now with sports, many of our athletes go abroad to seek care that they might not be getting. So do you think that if given the facilities and resources that we would be better able to nurture our local talents?
Yeah, definitely. I believe so. Here we are as a Caribbean country, we develop the talent to a certain level where people overseas see them and actually want them. So they see, obviously, we have that skill set to develop our athletes, right? But our athletes go abroad because, as you said, there are better resources overseas. They are probably better sponsorship opportunities as well. But I think as a country, we need to do a better job. There's only so much we could do, I know. But let's say we don't have the resources, like we don't have the actual facilities, the structural facilities. I think in terms of strategic planning from the top and taking sports and thinking of sports more as a business instead of just a recreational sport, that is really the
Right.
start that we need to put in place. So actually having policies that actually start is most important. And then from there, once we know we have the policies and we have serious people in place to actually develop the sport to a certain level, we can go beyond what we currently are.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you for so much for joining us today, and thank you for your time. You really shared a lot with us. We hope that many young athletes coming up can see a viable career in sport, whether it be them focusing on athletics or a business career in sports. It was a pleasure talking to you. I know the Student Center and Carib Athletes, though, I know they do have an ongoing partnership together.
That not only caters to athletes, but also not only caters to the athletic side of college recruitment, but the academic side as well. And together we offer services to prepare both for athletic and academic admission. So if you guys need any more information on it, you could always contact the Student Center at thestudentcenter.net or caribathletes.com, www.caribathletes.com.
All right, thank you so much. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Darian, for having me.
All righty, bye-bye.